For our agenda tonight, we'll be going over just a quick overview of our CBC Pixellot camera pilot for 2024, touching upon some of our community outreach as well. Then Joanne will provide us with some information on our club resources. LP will go over our club technical resources, and then at the end we will have a brief Q&A period and then talk about our next meeting. So I'll pass it off to Karish to start, I believe.
Awesome. Good night, everyone. So coming out of our member surveys and through strategic planning and in general conversation over the last few months with a lot of our members, but mainly from our surveys, one of the things that our members and our board strongly supports is that we take a more storytelling approach to the way we write and the way that we capture stuff. Now, in the grassroots and community outreach stuff that the OVA does, we already do this. We do this in writing and in video. But because there was a greater demand for more writing, we were able to have George join our team on contract for the last year, and now moving on to full-time. And George is essentially a communications coordinator, but he's also our lead writer at the OVA. And we've never formally introduced him to our clubs and to our membership to say, hey, George is here to sort of help you guys spread the good news about your club and the stuff that you're doing. And there's one huge part of what we want to focus on, and is that we want to show that volleyball is just more than playing the sport, but we want to capture a lot of the great community stuff that our clubs do as well. You guys take on fundraisers, you run school tournaments, you name it. I mean, things completely unrelated to sport. And we really want to capture the power of sport in everything that we do. And George is here to do that. If you go on our YouTube page, you'd probably see some examples of his work already in his coverage of sitting volleyball, 9-man, the Nepalese volleyball tournaments, and other things. And of course, George is also heavily involved in our Hall of Fame. That's when he moves from regular George into Fancy George, as you see here. We hope that you guys can reach out to him. His email is just at the bottom of the screen. And we would like to have our stories focused around our strategic priorities, but we're pretty much open to anything that you guys have to offer, to be honest. And our strategic priorities are around people, operations excellence, new, unique, or inclusive programming, any events that you're running, any different types of community engagement, or even if it's not different, if you've been doing it for years and we've not acknowledged it, we would love to do that. And any development or innovations that you're doing in the sport itself, or in any way. It doesn't have to be coaching, it could be anything else. George, you can see him on screen. Just give a wave for the people. Lovely. And feel free to reach out to him for all your needs with stories. And we look forward to getting quite a few from you. We are aiming to do about 3 stories a quarter, so please reach out to us, or him particularly. Jesse, you guys could move forward. Deirdre's on right now, so we could actually go forward with the CBC stuff. So I just wanted to give you guys a background to a new partnership that's been unfolding over the last year with CBC and us at the OVA. An opportunity was introduced by a parent, Chris Wilson, from the Leaside Volleyball Club. And Chris just happens to be the executive director of CBC Sports, or an executive director. And one of the things that they're pioneering is live streaming for amateur sports, which, oh my God, that's exactly something that we need. So over the last year, you've probably been seeing us putting up cameras at our Niagara Conference Center event, which was the first time we tried it out, and at the Toronto OCs. There are these pretty light but very high up cameras with two nice googly eyes, and they're actually AI driven to track the ball and the gameplay, which is kind of cool, and they're really good high quality. So we tried it out to see, hey, does this work for us at the OVA, and will it work for the clubs? Because we do know that some clubs do live stream their games and some don't. Some have the capital and the HR to make it happen, and others don't. Oh, but if we present you guys with an opportunity through this partnership with CBC, you know, a lot of clubs might think twice about being able to have your friends and families who can't make it to games be able to watch. They'll be able to watch, not via Facebook Live, but they'll be able to watch from CBC, which is a really big thing. It's big because, the clubs get more exposure, you attract more fans, you could generate more revenue, you name it. And another side of what we enjoyed about it, but we haven't tried it ourselves yet, is that these cameras and the system that CBC is using integrates to do video highlights and analysis. It marks clips on your timelines, it allows you to watch back your game. If you don't live stream it, you can download it to the actual camera, plug it in, and upload it whenever you have a stable internet connection. And this year, we'll actually be subsidizing, and Deirdre from CBC will tell you more about that. We'll be subsidizing the cost of some of the cameras for clubs. So you can actually begin to pilot it and let us know, does this work for you? We will have a detailed news story on our website, on our social media, and in our newsletters about FAQs and an application process and a timeline by which you can work. And we're aiming towards October 20th to have that published. We don't expect you to actually start using the cameras until January 2024. So it gives you some time to access it. Now I'd like to pass it on to Deirdre from CBC, who will give an overview of the partnership, the actual cameras, and the CBC live streaming system.
Thanks, Karish, and hi, everybody. I'm very excited. I think this is broader than just live streaming. So I think one of the things that we all know that have lived in the sports system, and I come from a skiing sport, but we know that local amateur sport doesn't get the coverage that it used to 10, 15 years ago. And CBC is looking to change that. They've always been the Olympic broadcaster. They do such a great job of telling those podium stories, but how do they get deeper into the system and start showcasing athletes and building an ecosystem of content that can be a little niche and can be local, but just as interesting to parents and families and family members and that niche group of social community that sport inevitably brings. So we are beta testing something called CBC Sports Connect. It is a working project, and Volleyball is a first adopter. So I'm very excited to work with the OVA to help build out this ecosystem. But essentially, it is a place where sports can upload content, whether it be with the camera or with the Pixellot camera or without, and also tag their highlights, watch the content VOD. And so here we have live streaming. It can happen. You need an internet connection, so that is something that is required, or you need to be able to build an internet connection. But we've had a lot of success testing this with the OVA from a few different gyms. And you need to sign into our digital atmosphere. And once you're in there, there's a volleyball section. We can build it out by club. And we can also then build an ecosystem where you can watch on demand. I am a parent who just sprinted from, I think it's Monday night hockey to get here in time for this town hall. And I rushed from Toronto to get to hockey. And there are days where you just can't be there. And if I could log into a system and watch 5 minutes of my kid's game to have a conversation with them, that to me is a win. And so you can watch it on demand, you can watch it live stream. And one of the really neat things that I think separates this from what is some of the other content ecosystems that exist out there is we also have enterprise VIP pricing. So with the Pixellot camera, you can capture your content, upload it either live or on demand, and it will actually then automatically go to VidSwap. And so for the coaches and for the clubs that are interested in buying that analytics subscription, this is a way for them to get those game breakdowns and analysis at a rate that you wouldn't be able to negotiate on a club-by-club basis, and that's all through this partnership with the OVA. So we'll go to the next slide. I think I just did this one, but so what we're doing is we have a relationship with Pixellot. So we have these cameras and we're able to get them out as soon as a club is ready. They're going to be leased to the clubs at $1,500 a year. And what that gets you is entry into this content ecosystem. The game content can then be uploaded or live streamed. So if you don't have an internet connection, you come home, you plug your game up, you plug your camera up to an Ethernet cable at home. It uploads within 4 to 6 hours. It's there and it's viewable for everybody. Once it's in the ecosystem, athletes can watch their content. They can tag different things that happen in a game, whether it's a kill, a dig. It doesn't matter. Then they can tag it so they have all of their tags within their user base and they can download and share those on social media. It's viewable to all audiences. It's free as of now. There is a point in time where we would like to put some of this behind a subscription wall, but that won't happen within the beta system. And we truly believe the more content that is in here, the more people are going to enjoy and watch. So this is the VidSwap pricing, and this happens through CBC. So what will happen is we'll work with Karish and Joanne and the team and build out a list of who wants to pilot this program with us. And from there, we'll introduce those clubs to the VidSwap team. The CBC VIP pricing is as follows. Each club can pay a $1,500 or $14.95 US for unlimited access to the analytics platform. And then for the game breakdowns, it's an additional $500 USD per team. Or if you're a smaller club and you're just looking for those game breakdowns, that VIP pricing would be $7.99 USD for game breakdowns for the entire season. So those are my slides, but questions are going to Karish. Sweet, that's wonderful. They're not coming directly to me. So he is the curator of all questions, will be the curator of all content. But we really are excited about this. The goal is to build this across Canadian sport, whether it's using AI cameras or just creating an ecosystem where you can watch sport all the way from the best in Canada to the local clubs that are going to be the best in Canada. And I like that you guys are storytelling because that fits well into this as well. And you can go see those athletes that you're writing about all over your OVA world. So thank you for having me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Deirdre. Well, Deirdre's on parent duty, so she's going to run. But we're asking you to send questions directly to me via email. You could also, if something pops in your head during this town hall, drop it in the chat. We'll collect it from there, and I'll either be able to email you or one of us will answer you if we have an answer directly. All good. So we're just going to move on to the next item in the agenda. And I'd like to introduce Sean Illingsworth, the president of Region 6, to sort of take over and lead what the regional council is about and all the good things that they do and how you can get involved.
Yeah, thanks, Karish. My name is not Schwan, as the slide presents, but and I am not Danny Gosselin, despite the similarities in our stature. But Danny unfortunately has a child with a sports injury, and he's had to go and get some x-rays, so he could not make it here tonight. So Regional Council, I'll quickly just present everybody who is part of the Regional Council. So Danny is the Regional Director and the Engagement Director. with the OVA, and he is an OVA board member as part of his role as leading the regional engagement. Tony, I'm not going to bother with your last name because I will mess it up. Tony's up in Region 1. Region 2 is Brian Welsh. The ever handsome Tori Caputo in Region 3. Dwayne Cochran in Region 4, and Katie Hutchison in Region 5. And myself, I'm here in Region 6 on the east side of the province. Next slide, please. So what is the Regional Council, and why does it exist, and what does it do? As a regional council, in many ways, we're the eyes and ears, or the hands and the feet of the OVA in the region. We listen and engage within the region and report back to the OVA on concerns, comments, and advice around the delivery of programs and services. In some cases, regional councils take on roles in partnering and working on teams to deliver regional programs. Many of you might be familiar with the Region 6 partnership that we have in Ottawa with Volleyball Canada to deliver the VNL tournament every June, as an example. Bottom line around the Regional Council and the purpose of the Regional Council is that we're here to help and support the clubs in the region and represent them back to the OVA. And we're striving to increase the two-way communication flow between the OVA and the club leaders and back and forth. Next slide, please. So many of you participated in the club operations survey that went out just at the end of provincial championships. And the feedback that was and the information that was generated in that research has been provided to the OVA and been reviewed. In many cases, it's been actioned. One example is the club leader FAQ section of the OVA website to provide quick, efficient access to key questions that club leaders were looking for. Other activities that are ongoing and part of the next steps for the Regional Council include, just earlier today, we met to evaluate and finalize the subcommittee members for the Indoor Volleyball Development Council and the Regional Coaching Subcommittee. We're working on club resources in terms of access to funding and the application process for clubs to access funding to run initiatives in their area. Again, this year, we'll be working with the IVDC once finally formalized to again review the tryout window. Lots of activities going on from a regional council perspective, and we strongly encourage anybody in any region, if you want to get involved in helping bridge the connection between OVA and club leaders, please do reach out to your local representative and ask about how to get involved. There is a slide on the OVA website about the Regional Council and who we are and how to get a hold of us. So I think that's it for me. Back over to Joanne. Yeah, no, Jesse?
Yep, over to Joe.
It's me. I just, haven't been on Zoom before, so I couldn't find my unmute button. So thank you, Sean, for sharing that with us. As we said, this is an ongoing, the survey, next steps, and executing those. CBC is part of that with some of the subsidy that will come through the Regional Council to help support that project, along with looking into and getting where else the clubs can be supported from regional funds. Yeah, reach out to your regional representatives and executive and share with them your ideas. And I know we'll be hitting Sean up for more surveys as we continue our feedback loop with the clubs going into the following year. So I wanted to take you through, if I can't advance my slides, I shouldn't be trying to do two things at once, where one of the things identified is trying to make a depository in one place of club resources. So this is an attempt to keep working to get that information into the club resource section on the webpage on our website. So if you do have things, I'm probably jumping ahead of slide, but if you do have things, let us know if you can't find them, and we will get them onto this page, because we have a lot of information for clubs and for our members, and we want to be able to make it easy for you at your fingertips. So one of the things that we wanted to highlight was, we know that ONCA is a little bit of a governance pain in the butt, let's just call it that, where there is bylaws, it's law, it needs to be updated, but there's also some tools out there. So this non-for-profit website is Clio. It does have a bylaw builder. This is the one that we have found that has been really helpful to kind of answer all your questions in one place. So this is a really good place to get into and get started. And if you do have questions on then continuing with your bylaw, you can reach out to me. You can send your questions to Jessie, and she'll find who can help answer them. It'll probably come back through to me or Alicia. And then this is where you can really, without hopefully a lot of expense, you can build some bylaws that will represent your club using this tool. One of the other things we've had some questions on is what are funding opportunities for clubs? Where are things where I can apply for some grants? So again, we're getting them collected into one place because we have answered these questions as they've come in emails, but we wanted to get it up here posted so anyone can have access to it and start to answer your questions. Now, each of these, there are details in behind of whether or not your club would be eligible, whether or not it's an initiative you're looking for. You would have to go in and look at the research for that. A lot of them, actually all of them, you either will need an audited or a reviewed financial statement. So there is some piece behind your organization that you will have to have your governance in check. So even goes along with the previous slide of getting your bylaws and ONCA in order before the deadlines. So these are all great opportunities you may have a project or an initiative that you're looking at executing within your club. Come and check here, and we will continue to update this page as we find any possible grants or funding. If there's any questions, just feel free to let me know, Jessie. So this is the club resources page that we were talking about. We were collecting the information. So when you get into your club resources, this is the piece where I'm like, oh yeah, we got to remember there is menus across the top here. Getting into the code of conduct, screening, or governance guides. There's some also some information posted along the side here, insurance summary. Your club administration checklist, that came from the survey saying, hey, just give us a list of all the things we got to get through so we don't miss some critical dates. So this is a highly recommended one to check out here. And then there's resources under each of these tabs when you slide across. So just keep that in mind that there's a lot of information already in here. If you do have something that you would like us to include in here, as I said, here's your email here. Click on Jessie and let her know. Policies. Okay, this is one where we get questions about that, and we know that some clubs are creating their own policies, which is fantastic. It's great. But at the same time, we are happy to help and support that. Our policies are posted here on the website. If you are looking for a Word document, we're happy to send it. We also are, I would be careful on drafting your own that stray too far from the OVA policies. So within our sports system, we have Volleyball Canada that has pan-Canadian policies that the OVA adopts. And we have compliance that we have to meet as far as being the PSO recognized by the ministry. So there is certain criteria that need to be included in those policies. And so just keep in mind that as you sign up your club, you're following all policies from the OVA. So just be careful if you're drafting that you're not going away and missing something from an OVA policy. And that's why it's not a problem if you have a template that you need on a policy. We have the Word documents and we can help support that. And as I said here, these are all Volleyball Canada Ministry and Insurance requirements. So you don't need to modify. You can also just connect your website that you're following these policies and procedures as well. And that will provide you with, underneath when you click under the other policies, your discipline and complaints, your appeal, your, the list goes on. Governance is an ongoing thing, and it does take a lot of time. So we have spent a lot of time. We have a very active governance committee who reviews our policies. And so they're all well prepared. And I just wanted to continue from the policy discussion and insurance. Being an OVA member club, we have shopped and provided insurance that does cover clubs, club leaders, members, but I want to stress the fact that it does have a directors and officers insurance for your club leaders. But there's a big but. There's a big but where there's very strict requirements from our insurance company that provides us with the insurance. The broker goes and shops it, but the insurance company, that insurance is provided to us based on the OVA policies and procedures. Now they will push back and they try to have us change and have more stringent policies, and we go back to them with what is possible, what we can do with it. The piece that we have to be careful of is if the OVA policies and procedures are not followed, you will not have insurance. So this great opportunity to have insurance that's under the OVA umbrella, you could put yourself at risk. You could put the club at risk, your members of your club at risk. So I just want to keep that in mind, that there is this insurance available, but you do have to be very careful that the eligibility requirements by role are met before you have them operating within your club. So that leads to club leaders and also your coaches. So we have the coach eligibility policies where the requirements are listed along with the club leader. So please pay attention to those. Within our MRS system, there is now the change where with Volleyball Canada, the requirements that come down from OSIC, the Office of Sport Integrity Commission, all those eligibility requirements must be met before we can move them into an approved member. So just keep that in mind, that and Jessie is nodding her head because she's sending a lot of emails. As we work through, every single one of the pending members are receiving emails from Jessie that are just saying, hey, if you're missing this, this is the piece you're missing. Please be reminded that you're in pending status until you complete this. They can send it right back into the PIA email that's listed on the email. All the instructions are on the email. But just keep in mind for the club leaders, you must make sure that your members have completed that eligibility so they're in the system as approved, or else you do have a gap. There's a gap in your insurance. And I just wanted to share that because I don't want people losing sleep. I really want them to make sure that they are aware of where this coverage comes into play. And that is the piece where I just can't say it enough. That is a requirement, has been clearly stated. So in order to be that registered OVA member, you need to be approved. So for the PIA, the person in authority roles, complete the eligibility requirements, make sure your coaches and your other club leaders that you're paying attention to any of those emails that you've received from Jessie. They're coming from the PIA. It'll be a PIA admin email. And just finish off the last few things of your eligibility and you will be good to go, and Jessie will get you approved in the system. So, and if you have any questions, we're also here for that, but you can send stuff right into the PIA email, and whoever's monitoring that email will take care of it. And that takes me to, if there's no questions on that, Jessie, we are going to move over to LP. Thank you for joining us, LP. It is all yours.
Hello, bonsoir. Hello, Joanne. Hello, everybody. Good evening. I recognize a lot of names on the call tonight, but if I don't know you, pleasure to, I guess, meet you. I'm LP Mainville. I'm the Athlete Development Director for the OVA. And well, I'm just here to talk a little bit about what we are doing and will be doing based on some of the feedback that we got from you guys. So it's exciting. We're starting a new season. And in the survey, a lot of you have asked about some resources for coaches and for yourself, your clubs, to help coaches do their job. So a couple of things. I'm not going to go in order here. I'm actually going to start with Huddle, which is an application to do video analysis, store video, analyze it, get some stats, do some game planning. And this platform, we have partnered with them, and this is the second year of our partnership, 3-year partnership with Huddle. They give some discounts on their packages for you guys to use the app. So you can go with one team, have all of your teams on the app. There's different options. There is an actual webinar for Huddle tomorrow night, and so you can attend that. There was a link in the latest OVA newsletter that we sent last week, and there have also been some messages on social media. The call tomorrow is at 7:00 p.m. I know a lot of people are in practice these days during evenings, during the week. So the call will be recorded and made available to all of you guys afterwards. So those interested in looking at Huddle a bit more closely and decide whether it's a good option for them, please tune in tomorrow or look for the webinar recording. Okay, so that's tomorrow night. Now, in terms of some resources, we've heard from you guys that you'd like to have access to some resources. Well, for the last couple of years within the Early Contact Initiative, on our website, in that specific section, we've had seasonal plan templates for 4v4, 6v6, and TNS. And so this has been around. We've updated them each year. We just updated those today, actually, and posted them online. So for your coaches who are actually in the ECI and like using this tool, the updated templates are online right now. You can find them in the coach resource section or in the ECI section of the website if you go in the stream specific page. Okay, so the 4v4 page, 6v6 page, and TLS page. Now, the one thing that we heard from clubs and coaches last year is that you want to have some of those templates for the older age groups. So we're just in a process of developing those. It's actually a lengthy process, especially since we want to make sure that they're aligned with the new LTD 3.0 and all of the information that's in there, and also the language. So just preparing those at the moment. Those will be up on our website by the end of the, essentially by 2 weeks from now. So by October 13th, which I think is a Friday. So we'll make sure that those tools are up there for all coaches. Now, in terms of another tool, so one thing that, in some conversations with coaches, I often hear the question of playtime. And, some coaches will talk to me about having difficulties with some parents and blah, blah, blah. And especially with the younger age groups, when it comes to the age groups that have fair play, one question is, well, was it really fair play, right? How can I show the parents of the kids on my team that, everybody's played an equal amount? And so we've built a playtime tracker. So it's just an Excel sheet, an Excel document, and we'll make that available on the website in the next week or so. So what that does is it allows coaches to essentially enter their lineups for each of their games and for all the tournaments that they attend during the year. And it will actually simply calculate the number of sets and points that they've played. So after each set in each game, you've got to enter your score in this sheet. And it will do all the calculations and show you, how many times did Johnny play and how many times, did Ben play. So you can kind of compare. And as you go through the year, you can also see, I've played Ben quite a lot. I should give Johnny a little bit of more play time and find some opportunities for him to play. And because the thing that happens with fair play is that oftentimes the same players play in the third set when there is a third set. So at the end of the year, it can be an actual pretty big gap between the play time from a player to another. So this is a cool tool to for coaches to actually track. They know what they're doing. Sometimes we have a feeling that a certain player has played more than they actually did. So it's good for the coaches to know, but it also helps with the communication with the parents and showing, hey, here's what we did. Look at how much your child has played. So this is going to be a tool that we make available again on our website for coaches to use. Now, the first version of this only really is useful for fair play when everybody plays fair, I guess, and where there's not a lot of subs, right? So within fair play, we only have subs in the third set, and so so that's really the target for this tool. Now, I'll be working on. I need to figure out if I can figure out a way to do this for the other age groups, the older age groups where there's no fair play and where there's like liberos and also a lot of subs, double subs, and all that stuff. It's not as simple when you start having those switches. So something to look for. The last thing that came out in the recent survey that we're going to address is tools and resources for parent coaches. So a lot of clubs have, you're looking for coaches. Oh, turns out there's a parent that is willing to step up as a coach to allow this one team to play this year. And, this person may or may not have a volleyball background. Maybe they have coaching experience in another sport, but they're just going to try it out. So those coaches are often kind of left to themselves, trying to think about what they did in phys ed, in volleyball, 20 years ago. So we've heard you guys, and we're going to come up with some little tools, little practice kind of planning tools that may be helpful for other coaches, but that will be really targeted at those parents that are coming in with very little experience, wanting to kind of get started and offer some good, entertaining, effective practices for their athletes. So that's not going to be necessarily geared towards those more high performance teams. Really, it's going to be for those let's call them volleyball for life type of teams that are coached with by some parents that are there maybe just for 1 year, right? So they may not be interested in going for the full certification. They just want to have a little bit of support while they coach for this year, while their kid is playing or something like that. So that is, I can't promise that's going to be ready this year. This is something that we saw in a survey just recently. We're going to start working on, but as things become available and are done, we're going to be posting those. Now, that being said, I'm just going to leave you guys with this. If there's anything else that you need from the coaching perspective, please send me a message, email me. My email is lpmainville@ontariovolleyball.org. I will put it in the chat in a second. And just let me know, like, what are the questions you have? What would be useful for your clubs? Because, along with that parent coach tool, this year, we're really going to develop more initiatives and more programs for clubs to support the coaches. So yes, please reach out, let me know what it is you'd like to see. And we're going to incorporate that feedback as we plan more coach development opportunities for you guys out there. So that's that for me for now. And have a good season. And I'm sure I'm going to see you soon in the gym.
Thanks, LP. I think Jessie had to hop off. She had her team warming up by themselves and she had to jump into the gym. So I'm just going to wrap everything up for the call. I know there was no questions. I think this is the first time in the history of town halls with the OVA where we haven't had one single question. If you have anything, think of something later, send any of us an email. Going back to Sean's slide on the regional council as well, all of those names are hyperlinked with email addresses as well. This PowerPoint deck will be put up on the website tomorrow for everyone to see, plus the video from YouTube. No FAQ because we have no questions, but we'll follow that process. In terms of next meetings, we have one scheduled for October and November as well. We will just be coming up with some topics, perhaps further information on risk management and concussion protocols. We've been hearing people want some information on that as well. Again, if you have any questions or comments and ideas of topics, be sure to shoot any of us an email and we will make sure we get on that. All right. That's it. Good night, everyone. Thanks for joining us.